The ivory silk pooled at my feet like spilled milk, its delicate beading scattered across the floor like broken dreams. My wedding dress, the one I'd spent months saving for, lay ruined before me, covered in what looked like red wine stains and God knows what else. My hands trembled as I lifted it from the storage box, the fabric heavy with the weight of betrayal. I'm Delaney, and this was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. In 3 weeks, I was going to marry Jordan, the most supportive man I'd ever met. But standing there in my childhood bedroom, staring at my destroyed dress, I felt the familiar ache of being the responsible daughter, the one who always got pushed aside. "Oh my God, what happened?" Serenity gasped from the doorway. My best friend rushed to my side, her eyes wide with horror. "Emma," I whispered, my voice cracking. "This has Emma written all over it." Right on cue, my younger sister's laughter echoed up the stairs. She was home from college for the weekend, probably sharing stories with Mom about her latest adventures. The golden child, as always. "Emma," I shouted, my voice carrying through the house. The laughter stopped. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, and Emma appeared in the doorway, Mom right behind her. My sister's face went pale when she saw what I was holding. "I can explain," Emma started, holding up her hands. "Explain? Explain." I thrust the dress toward her. "How do you explain this?" Mom stepped between us, her face already set in that placating expression I knew too well. "Delaney, honey, let's not overreact." "Overreact?" I laughed, the sound bitter even to my own ears. "My wedding dress is ruined, Mom. The dress I spent $6,000 on." Emma's voice came out small. "I just wanted to try it on. There was this party, and I thought—" "You thought what? That you could just take my wedding dress to a college party?" The pieces clicked together, the wine stains, the torn beading, the smell of cigarette smoke clinging to the fabric. "I'll pay for it," Emma said quickly. "I promise, Del. I'll get you a new one." "With what money?" I shot back. "Your student loans? Or were you planning to get Mom to pay for it like everything else?" "That's enough," Mom cut in, her tone sharp. "Emma made a mistake, but we can fix this. I'll help pay for a new dress." I shook my head, tears burning in my eyes. "That's not the point, Mom. It's never been the point." Serenity placed a hand on my shoulder, grounding me. She'd witnessed this dynamic for years. Emma messing up, Mom swooping in to fix it, and me, always me, expected to understand, to forgive, to be the bigger person. "Ever since Dad died," I continued, my voice shaking, "it's been like this. Emma gets whatever she wants, does whatever she wants, and I'm just supposed to smile and take it." "That's not fair," Mom protested. "Your sister's been through a lot." "And I haven't?" I interrupted. "I was 16 when Dad died too, Mom. 16, but instead of getting comfort, I got responsibility. Take care of your sister, Delaney. Be understanding, Delaney. Don't make waves, Delaney." Emma's face crumpled. "I didn't mean to ruin it, I swear. I just wanted to feel special for one night." "Special?" I laughed again, the sound hollow. "You've been special your entire life, Emma. When's the last time anyone in this family made me feel special?" The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's face had gone pale, and Emma looked like she might cry. Good. Let them feel uncomfortable for once. "I have to call Jordan," I said, gathering up the ruined dress. "And then, I need to figure out how I'm going to find another dress in 3 weeks." "Delaney," Mom started, reaching for me. I stepped back. Don't. Serenity followed me out of the room, leaving Mom and Emma standing there. As we descended the stairs, I heard Emma's muffled sobs and Mom's soft murmurs of comfort. Of course, even now, Emma was the one being consoled. In the kitchen, I collapsed onto a chair, the dress a sad heap in my lap. Serenity started making coffee without asking. She knew me too well. "You know what the worst part is?" I said, fingering a loose beading. "I'm not even surprised. Deep down, I knew something like this would happen. Something always does when it comes to Emma." Serenity set a steaming mug in front of me. Maybe it's time to stop letting them get away with it. I looked up at her, surprised by the steel in her voice. I'm serious, Del. You're getting married, starting your own family. Maybe it's time to show them exactly what it feels like when karma comes calling. I wrapped my hands around the warm mug, considering her words. For the first time since finding the dress, I felt something other than despair, something that felt dangerously like purpose. Maybe you're right, I said softly. Maybe it's finally time. Your sister's graduation is next weekend, Mum announced over breakfast, sliding a glossy invitation across the table. I expect you'll be there. I stared at the gold-embossed card, my coffee turning bitter in my mouth. 1 week had passed since the wedding dress incident, and I'd spent every night scrolling through bridal boutiques, trying to find a replacement I could afford. I'm busy, I said, pushing the invitation back. Wedding stuff. Mom's lips tightened. Delaney, this is important. Emma's graduating summa cum laude. Of course she is. I stabbed at my eggs. And I'm sure you'll throw her an amazing party with the money you saved by not helping with my dress. That's not fair, Mom protested. I offered to help pay. After Emma ruined it, I slammed my fork down. You know what? I actually have an idea for her graduation gift. Maybe I'll wear my ruined wedding dress to her ceremony. You know, since she liked it so much. Mom's face went pale. You wouldn't dare. Wouldn't I? I stood up, gathering my things. It's what she wanted, right? To feel special? Del? Jordan's voice came from the doorway. My fiancé stood there, looking concerned. I hadn't heard him come in. Perfect timing, I said, grabbing my bag. Let's go. Outside, Jordan caught my arm. Hey, what was that about? Nothing. I yanked open his car door. Just my mother being herself. He slid into the driver's seat, studying me. You're really thinking about wearing the ruined dress to Emma's graduation? Maybe. I crossed my arms. Would it be so wrong? Let everyone see what she did. Del, Jordan sighed. I know you're hurt, but... My phone buzzed. Emma's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call. She's called 6 times since yesterday, Jordan noted, and I'll ignore 600 more. I stared out the window. You didn't see Mom's face when it happened, Jordan. She was more worried about Emma feeling bad than about what Emma actually did. Another buzz. This time a text from Emma. Please talk to me. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to make it right. I typed back, anything? How about giving back all the attention Mom gave you instead of me after Dad died? The response was immediate. That's not fair. I never asked for that. But you never stopped it either, I sent back, then turned my phone off. Jordan pulled into the bridal boutique's parking lot. You sure about this? About finding a new dress? Don't have much choice. No, about letting this anger consume you. He turned to face me. I've never seen you like this, Del. I met his eyes. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I've been too nice for too long. Inside the boutique, Serenity was waiting. She hugged me tight. Found some options already. Wait till you see them. As I tried on dresses, my mind kept wandering to Emma's graduation. The image of me showing up in the stained dress, making a scene. It was tempting. So tempting. What about this one? Serenity held up a sleek, modern gown. It's beautiful, I admitted. But it's not. Not the one you spent months saving for, she finished. My phone buzzed again. Jordan had turned it back on. This time it was Mom. Emma's crying in her room. Is this really how you want things to be? I showed Serenity the message. See? Emma cries and I'm the bad guy. Again. So do something about it, Serenity said, her voice low. But do it smart. The graduation stunt? That's not you. You want revenge? Make it count. I raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? The wedding, your speech. Tell everyone exactly what it's been like. Let them all see the truth. I sat down heavily in my wedding dress, the new one we'd just found. It was beautiful, but it felt wrong. Everything felt wrong. I can't do that, I whispered. It would destroy Mom. Like she destroyed your childhood, Serenity countered. Like Emma destroyed your dress. My phone buzzed again. Emma had sent a photo, her and me at Dad's funeral, holding hands. The message read, "Remember when we were actually sisters?" I felt tears prick my eyes. I don't know what to do anymore. Serenity sat beside me. Yes, you do. You're just scared to do it. She was right. The thought had been there since the dress incident, growing stronger with each dismissed feeling, each ignored call, each manipulative text from Mum. I picked up my phone and typed, "Emma, you want to make things right? Then it's time for some truth. Meet me tomorrow, alone." The response came quickly. "Where?" "Dad's grave. Noon. No Mom." I looked up at Serenity, my heart pounding. Either this fixes everything, or it breaks it all apart, she finished. But at least it'll be honest. I nodded, standing up in my new dress. In the mirror, I barely recognized myself. But maybe that was the point. Maybe it was time to become someone new. Someone who wouldn't stay quiet anymore. Dad's headstone cast a long shadow in the midday sun. I arrived early, my hands shaking as I placed fresh flowers beside his name. The cemetery was quiet, except for distant traffic and birds calling overhead. "I thought I'd find you here already." Emma's voice made me jump. She looked smaller somehow, wearing Dad's old college sweatshirt, the one she'd claimed after he died. "You're wearing his shirt," I said flatly. "So are you." She gestured to the faded baseball cap I was wearing, Dad's favorite Red Sox cap. We stood in awkward silence until Emma spoke again. "Mom doesn't know I'm here." "Good." I sat down on the grass, patting the spot next to me. "Remember when we used to come here together? Before you got too busy with your new friends?" Emma sank down beside me. "That's not fair." "Life's not fair." I plucked at the grass. "Like when Dad died and Mom decided you needed her more than I did." "I never asked." "I know you didn't ask for it," I cut her off. "But you took it, all of it. The attention, the money, the endless second chances." Emma's voice cracked. "I was falling apart, Del. You seemed so strong." "I had to be." The words exploded out of me. Someone had to keep it together. Someone had to make sure the bills got paid while Mum was focused on your therapy, your college applications, your everything. "I didn't know," Emma whispered. "Remember my high school graduation?" I asked. "Mum left early because you had a panic attack about starting college in the fall." Emma's face crumpled. "I remember. Or my college acceptance letter. Mum barely looked at it because you'd just broken up with your first boyfriend." "Stop," Emma pleaded. "Or how about last Christmas, when Mum gave you Dad's watch, the one he promised to me, because you needed something to remember him by?" Tears were streaming down Emma's face now. "I'll give it back. I'll give it all back." "You can't." I turned to face her fully. "That's the point, Emma. You can't give back the years Mum spent treating me like an afterthought. You can't give back the moments I needed my mother, and she was too busy with you." "So what do you want from me?" Emma asked, wiping her eyes. "I want you to understand what you're really apologizing for. It's not just about the dress." "Then tell me," she said. "Help me understand." I pulled out my phone and opened my photos. "Look at these." I started scrolling through pictures. Emma's high school graduation, with Mom beaming. Emma's college move-in day, with Mom crying proud tears. Emma's art show, with Mom proudly displaying the pieces. "Now look for pictures of Mom at my events," I said quietly. Emma scrolled, her face growing more troubled. "There aren't many, because she wasn't there." "Not really. She was always leaving early or showing up late because of something you needed." "Del," Emma's voice was barely audible. "I never saw it. I never realized." "No, you didn't. And now you've ruined my wedding dress, and Mum's first response was to protect your feelings. Again." Emma reached for my hand. I let her take it, remembering how we used to sit just like this after Dad died. "What can I do?" she asked. "Tell me how to fix this." I squeezed her hand. "First, you need to stop letting Mom make excuses for you. Stand up and take responsibility." She nodded. And I took a deep breath. I need you to stand with me at the wedding, not just as my sister, but as someone who finally sees the truth. What do you mean? I'm going to say some things in my speech, things Mom won't like hearing, things that need to be said. Emma was quiet for a long moment. You're going to call her out? At your wedding? Not to hurt her, I explained. To heal. To finally be heard. She'll be devastated. I've been devastated for years, I countered. Maybe it's time she understood how that feels. Emma looked at Dad's headstone, then back at me. He would want us to fix this, to be sisters again. We can't be sisters again until we're honest about what broke us apart. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll stand with you. Whatever you need to say, I'll back you up. I felt something shift between us, like a wall crumbling, or a wound finally starting to heal. The dress, Emma started, is ruined, I finished. But maybe that needed to happen. Maybe we needed everything to fall apart so we could put it back together right. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder, just like she used to when we were kids. I'm sorry, Del, for everything. For the first time since finding the ruined dress, I felt the knot in my chest loosen slightly. This wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. I know, I said softly. I know you are. The rehearsal dinner buzzed with conversation and clinking glasses. I sat at the head table, watching Emma chat with Jordan's family, while Mom fluttered around her like a nervous butterfly. Some things never change. You okay? Jordan squeezed my hand under the table. Fine, I lied, taking another sip of wine. Just ready for this to be over. Milena, Jordan's mother, leaned in from my other side. Delaney, dear, is everything all right? You seem tense. Before I could answer, Mom clinked her glass. Everyone, I think it's time for some toasts. My stomach clenched. We hadn't planned for toasts tonight. That was supposed to be tomorrow, at the wedding. Emma has prepared something special, Mom announced, beaming. Of course she had. Emma stood, looking uncertain. She caught my eye, and I saw a flash of guilt cross her face. She hadn't mentioned this to me during our cemetery talk. Emma cleared her throat. I want to tell a story about my sister. The room fell quiet. I gripped my wineglass tighter. When we were little, Delaney was always the responsible one, the perfect one. Emma's voice wavered. After Dad died, she became even more perfect. While I was falling apart, she was holding everything together. Mom's smile faltered slightly. I never appreciated that, Emma continued. I never saw how much she gave up for me. And recently, I did something unforgivable. I ruined her wedding dress because I was selfish and thoughtless. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. Mom stepped forward, probably to interrupt, but Emma held up her hand. No, Mom, let me finish. Emma's voice grew stronger. Delaney found another dress, a beautiful one. But that's not the point. The point is, I've been taking things from her my whole life, and it's time I gave something back. She reached into her purse and pulled out a familiar leather case. Dad's watch. Del, this belongs to you. Dad promised it to you, and I had no right to accept it when Mum gave it to me. Mum's face went white. Emma, that's not necessary. Yes, it is, Emma insisted. She walked over and placed the watch in front of me. It's time for things to change. The silence in the room was deafening. I stared at the watch, my vision blurring with tears. Well, Milena said brightly, too brightly, shall we move on to dinner? But Emma wasn't finished. And Mom, we need to talk about... That's enough, Emma, Mom cut in sharply. This isn't the time or place. When is the time? I found myself standing, my chair scraping back. When it's convenient for you. When it won't make you look bad. Jordan touched my arm. Del, maybe we should... No. I picked up the watch, its familiar weight grounding me. Emma's right. Things need to change. Mom's face hardened. Delaney, you're making a scene. Am I? I laughed. Funny how that only matters when it's me doing it. When Emma makes scenes, they're just crying for help. Perhaps we should take a break, Milena suggested, standing. Clear the room for a moment? But people were already watching, riveted by the family drama unfolding before them. "You know what?" I said, clasping Dad's watch around my wrist. "You're right, Mom. This isn't the place. We'll save it for tomorrow." "What's tomorrow?" Mom asked, her voice sharp with worry. "My wedding," I reminded her. "You remember, the one where I'm wearing my second-choice dress because you couldn't be bothered to hold Emma accountable? That wedding." "Delaney," Mom warned. "Don't worry," I said, sitting back down. "I'm done. For now." The rest of dinner passed in awkward conversation and pointed silences. Emma kept trying to catch my eye, but I focused on my plate. Jordan's family made valiant attempts at small talk, while Mom sat rigid beside me, barely touching her food. Later, as guests were leaving, Milena pulled me aside. "I know family pain when I see it," she said quietly. "And I know there's more to this story than a ruined dress." I nodded, unable to speak. "Whatever you're planning to say tomorrow," she continued, "make sure you're saying it for the right reasons. Not for revenge, but for healing." "How did you know I was planning something?" Milena smiled sadly. "Because I see myself in you. The dutiful daughter who finally reached her breaking point." She squeezed my arm. "Just remember, once words are said, they can't be unsaid." I watched her walk away, her words echoing in my head. Across the room, Mom was helping Emma with her coat, fussing over her as always. But this time, Emma gently pushed her hands away. "I can do it myself, Mom," I heard her say. "I'm not a child anymore." Mom's hands fell to her sides, lost without someone to fuss over. For a moment, she looked old and uncertain. I touched Dad's watch, feeling its steady tick against my wrist. Tomorrow would change everything. I just hoped we'd all survive the fallout. "You look beautiful," Serenity said, adjusting my veil. The new dress wasn't the one I'd dreamed of, but it fit perfectly, both the dress and the moment. "Thanks." I checked my reflection, Dad's watch gleaming at my wrist. "Have you seen Emma? She's keeping your mum busy in the other room." Serenity smirked. "Very busy. Last I heard, she was having an elaborate crisis about her makeup." A knock at the door made us both turn. Milena entered, carrying a small box. "I have something for you," she said, closing the door behind her. "But first we need to talk." My stomach tightened. About your mother." Milena sat down, patting the chair beside her. "And about what I know." I exchanged glances with Serenity, who nodded and slipped out of the room. "What do you mean, what you know?" I asked, sitting down carefully in my dress. "Your father's life insurance policy," Milena said quietly. "I was his financial advisor." My heart stopped. "What about it?" "It was substantial, very substantial." Milena opened the box, revealing documents. "And it was meant to be split equally between you and Emma." The room seemed to tilt. "But Mom said, she said there was barely enough to cover the funeral." "There was enough to pay for both your college educations, with plenty left over." Milena's voice was gentle but firm. "Your mother chose to handle it differently." My hands shook as I took the papers. "She used it all on Emma. Private therapy, college tuition, that apartment in the city." Milena nodded. "Meanwhile, you worked through school, took out loans." "Does Emma know?" "I don't believe so." Milena touched my arm. "I've wanted to tell you for years, but professionally, I couldn't. Now that you're getting married, these records legally belong to you." Hot tears splashed onto the papers. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you deserve to know the truth before you make your speech." She squeezed my hand. "And because sometimes, the kindest thing we can do is force people to face their mistakes." A soft knock interrupted us. Emma poked her head in. "Mum's finally settled. I told her I needed—" "Del, are you crying?" I quickly wiped my eyes. "Happy tears, wedding day and all." Emma didn't look convinced. She came in, closing the door. "What are those papers?" Milena stood. "I'll give you two a moment." After she left, Emma picked up one of the documents. Her face went pale as she read. Is this real?" she whispered. I nodded. "Apparently Mum's been lying to both of us." Emma sank into a chair. All those times you were working double shifts in college, when you couldn't afford your textbooks. While you had that nice apartment near campus, I finished. I didn't know, Emma said, her voice breaking. I swear, Del, I didn't know. I believe you. And surprisingly, I did. But Mom knew. She knew every time I called home crying about money. Every time I had to skip a class because I couldn't afford the materials. Emma's makeup was starting to run. What are you going to do? What I planned to do anyway. I stood, smoothing my dress. Tell the truth. In your speech. In my speech. I checked the time. 20 minutes until the ceremony. You still with me? Emma stood, squaring her shoulders. Always. From now on, always. We hugged carefully, mindful of our dresses and makeup. When we pulled apart, Emma was smiling through her tears. You know what's funny, she said. That ruined dress might be the best thing that ever happened to us. A knock at the door announced Serenity's return. It's time, Del. I took one last look in the mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the same one who'd found her ruined wedding dress weeks ago. She was stronger now, clearer. Ready? Emma asked. Almost. I turned to her. Just stay close during the reception. When I start my speech, I might need you. Front table right beside you, she promised. And Del, I'm sorry. For everything. But mostly for not seeing what was happening all these years. The wedding march began playing distantly. Serenity handed me my bouquet, and Emma quickly fixed her makeup. Let's go get you married, Serenity said. Then we can deal with everything else. As we lined up outside the chapel doors, I caught sight of Mom in the front row, dabbing her eyes theatrically. She had no idea what was coming. Part of me felt guilty, but then I thought of all those nights I'd cried myself to sleep, wondering why I wasn't enough for her. Dad's watch ticked steadily at my wrist, like a countdown to truth. The doors opened, and the music swelled. It was time to walk down the aisle, say my vows, and then finally, say everything else I'd been holding back for years. I took my first step forward, Emma and Serenity behind me, toward Jordan and our future, toward the moment when everything would change. The reception was in full swing when I approached the microphone. Jordan squeezed my hand one last time before I stood, champagne glass trembling slightly in my grip. The usual clinking of glasses quieted the room. First, I want to thank everyone for being here today, I began, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Marriage is about honesty, trust, and facing hard truths together. So in that spirit, I'd like to tell you all a story. Mom shifted in her seat, her smile becoming fixed. Emma reached over and gripped my free hand. When I was 16, my father died. He left behind 2 daughters and a substantial life insurance policy meant to take care of both of us equally. I paused, watching Mom's face pale. I only learned this morning that while I worked my way through college, that money was being spent elsewhere. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mom started to stand, but Milena's hand on her arm kept her seated. But this isn't just about money, I continued. It's about a pattern, about a mother who decided one daughter needed her more than the other, about years of missed moments and dismissed feelings. Delaney, Mom's voice carried across the room, warning in her tone. No, Mom, you've done enough talking. I held up my wrist, displaying Dad's watch. Remember giving this to Emma? Dad's watch, the one he specifically promised to me. You gave it away because Emma needed something to remember him by. As if I didn't need that too. The room was dead silent now. Even the servers had stopped moving. And then there's the wedding dress incident. I smiled without humor. My sister took my wedding dress to a party without permission and ruined it. And you, Mom, your first concern was making sure Emma didn't feel too bad about it. That's not fair. Mom stood up, her voice shaking. I offered to pay. With what money? I cut in. The money you took from my half of Dad's insurance, the money that was supposed to help me through college. Gasps echoed through the room. Emma stood up beside me, her voice clear and strong. It's true, she announced. I saw the documents today. Mom, how could you? Mom's face crumpled. I was trying to protect you, Emma. You were so fragile after your father died. And I wasn't, I interrupted. Or did you just decide I could handle it because I didn't fall apart as publicly as Emma did? You were always stronger, Mum pleaded. I had to be. My voice cracked. You didn't give me a choice. Every time I needed you, you were too busy with Emma's latest crisis. Every time I accomplished something, it got overshadowed by Emma's needs. Milena stood up then, addressing the room. As Richard's financial advisor, I can confirm everything Delaney is saying. The insurance policy was explicitly meant to be divided equally. Mom sank back into her chair, tears streaming down her face. I thought I was doing what was best. Best for who, Mom? Emma asked. Not for Delaney, and not for me either. You didn't help me by teaching me that my feelings mattered more than everyone else's. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I'm not saying this to hurt you, Mom. I'm saying it because I'm done pretending everything's okay. I'm done being the responsible one who never complains. I'm done watching you favor one daughter while ignoring the other. Jordan stood up then, moving to my side. And I'm done watching my wife hurt in silence. So what happens now? Mom asked, her voice small. Now? I set down my glass. Now we start over, with truth this time. No more pretending, no more favoritism, no more lies about money or anything else. Emma nodded firmly. And if you can't do that, Mum, then you'll lose both of us. The silence that followed was heavy with years of unspoken pain and betrayal. Then, from the back of the room, someone started clapping. Others joined in, until the whole room was applauding. Mum sat there, mascara running down her face, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Part of me wanted to comfort her, to fall back into old patterns, but Emma's hand was still in mine, squeezing tight, reminding me why we were doing this. I'm sorry, Mum whispered, but in the quiet room everyone heard. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough anymore, I said gently. We need change, real change. I turned back to the microphone. Thank you all for witnessing this. It wasn't the wedding speech I originally planned, but it's the one that needed to be said. As I stepped away from the microphone, Jordan wrapped his arms around me. Over his shoulder, I saw Milena nodding approvingly, Serenity wiping away tears, and Emma standing tall beside me. Mom sat alone at her table, finally facing the consequences of years of choices. It wasn't the happy ending she'd probably imagined for my wedding day, but maybe it was the beginning we all needed. The band started playing again, filling the awkward silence. As Jordan led me to the dance floor for our first dance, I felt lighter somehow. The truth was out, the wounds were exposed, and now, finally, they could begin to heal. The morning after the wedding, I found Mom sitting alone in my childhood kitchen, staring at an old photo album. She looked up when I entered, her eyes red and swollen. I thought you'd be on your honeymoon, she said softly. We leave tonight. I started making coffee, the familiar routine steadying my hands. Jordan's helping Emma move some of her things from your house. She's moving out? Mum's voice cracked. Into my old apartment. We thought it would be good for her to stand on her own 2 feet. I set a mug in front of her. For both of us to stand on our own. Mom traced the rim of her mug. I got calls all morning. Aunt Sarah, Uncle Mike. They all want to know if what you said was true. And what did you tell them? The truth, finally. She pulled out a thick envelope. I went to the bank this morning. It's not everything. I can't get it all at once, but it's a start. I stared at the envelope. Mom, it's your money, Delaney. It always was. She pushed it toward me. I can't undo what I did, but I can start making it right. The front door opened, and Emma's voice carried through the house. Del, you here? Carson's truck is loaded up. She appeared in the doorway, freezing when she saw Mom. Jordan and Carson, Emma's boyfriend, hung back awkwardly. Should we come back? Jordan asked. No, I said firmly. We all need to talk anyway. Emma sat down across from Mom while the guys brought in more boxes. The kitchen felt crowded with unspoken words. I found something this morning, Emma said, pulling out a folded paper. My therapy bills from college. The real ones, not the ones you showed me. Mom's hands began to shake. Emma, you told me they were $300 per session. Emma's voice was steady. They were actually $150. Where did the other half go? To my account, Mom whispered, to cover other expenses. My expenses? I asked. The ones you claimed you couldn't help with? Mom nodded, tears falling. I was so afraid of Emma falling apart again, of losing her like we almost did after your father died. I convinced myself it was okay to use the money that way. I never asked you to steal from my sister, Emma said sharply. No, you didn't. Mom wiped her eyes. I did that all on my own. I told myself I was protecting you, but really, I was protecting myself. From guilt, from fear. From having to treat us equally, I finished. Jordan stepped forward. I think we should all sit down, really talk this through. We gathered around the kitchen table, the same table where we'd had countless family dinners, where Dad used to help us with homework, where everything had once seemed simple. I'm selling the house, Mom announced suddenly. What? Emma and I said together. It's too big for just me and... She took a deep breath. I need to pay back what I took. Both of you deserve to start your lives without debt. Mom, you don't have to, Emma started. Yes, I do. Mom's voice was stronger now. I've spent years making excuses, playing favorites, hiding the truth. It stops now. Carson, who'd been quiet until now, spoke up. Emma's been talking about starting her own art therapy practice. Maybe that money could help with that. Emma's eyes widened. I couldn't. Yes, you could, I said. That's exactly what Dad would have wanted. Both of us using our inheritance to build our futures. And me? Mom asked quietly. What happens with me? I reached across the table and took her hand. You get to prove that you meant everything you just said, that you're really ready to change. Starting with family therapy, Emma added, all three of us. Mom nodded, squeezing my hand. I'd like that. And Mom, I pulled out the envelope she'd given me earlier. Keep this for now. Use it to find a smaller place after you sell the house. We'll figure out the rest together. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks, but these seemed different somehow. Lighter. I don't deserve such amazing daughters, she whispered. No, Emma agreed, but you can earn us back, day by day. Jordan wrapped an arm around my shoulders, and I leaned into him, watching my mother and sister across the table. We weren't fixed, not by a long shot, but for the first time in years, it felt like we were all facing the same direction. So, Carson said, breaking the heavy moment, who's helping me unload this truck? We all laughed, the tension breaking like a fever. As we moved boxes into Emma's new apartment, I caught glimpses of what could be. Sunday dinners where everyone felt valued, holidays without hidden resentments, a future where my children would never have to wonder if they were enough. Dad's watch ticked steadily on my wrist, marking each moment of this new beginning. Something told me he would have been proud, not of the secrets or the pain, but of the truth that finally set us free. The wind rustled through the cemetery trees as I placed fresh flowers on Dad's grave. This time, I wasn't alone. Emma sat beside me, and Mom stood slightly behind us, holding a small box. Should we do this here? Emma asked, glancing at Dad's headstone. He should be part of it, I said, even if it's just in spirit. Mom knelt down, opening the box. Inside lay Dad's watch, the one I'd worn at my wedding, the one that had sparked so much change. The jeweler sized it perfectly, Mom said, lifting it out. Are you sure about this, Delaney? I nodded. It's time. We'd spent the past few weeks in family therapy, unpacking years of hurt and resentment. It hadn't been easy. There were sessions where we'd all left in tears, days when it felt like we'd never move forward. But we kept going. Mom handed the watch to Emma, who turned it over in her hands, examining the new inscription on the back. For my sisters, she read aloud, time heals all wounds. Del, it's perfect. We'll share it, I explained. 6 months each, a reminder that we're both Dad's daughters, both equally worthy of his legacy. Mom wiped her eyes. He would have loved that. He would have loved seeing us finally acting like real sisters, Emma added, fastening the watch on her wrist. Like we used to be. A car door slammed nearby, and we looked up to see Serenity approaching with a large portfolio. "Sorry I'm late," she called. "Traffic was awful, but I brought the designs." Emma jumped up excitedly. "Let me see." We gathered around as Serenity spread out the architectural plans for Emma's new art therapy studio, the one we were building together with our shared inheritance. "The contractor can start next month," Serenity explained, pointing to different areas. "Treatment rooms here, gallery space there, and this whole wall will be windows overlooking the garden." "It's perfect," Emma breathed. "Del, I still can't believe you're doing this with me." "That's what sisters do," I said. "Besides, my accounting firm needs new clients. You're stuck with me as your business manager whether you like it or not." Mom touched the plans gently. "Your father would be so proud of both of you, working together, supporting each other." "Speaking of support," Emma said, pulling out her phone, "I have something to show you both." She pulled up a photo of her latest art piece, a striking canvas split in two, one side dark and chaotic, the other emerging into light. "It's called Sisters," she explained. "I'm donating it to the Family Therapy Center. They're hanging it in the waiting room." Mum's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh, Emma." "That's not all," Emma continued. "I'm starting a scholarship program through the studio for siblings who need therapy but can't afford it, in Dad's name." I hugged her tight, both of us crying now. Even Mom stepped forward, tentatively wrapping her arms around us both. "Group hug," Serenity called, joining in. "Sorry, couldn't resist." We laughed through our tears, the sound echoing across the peaceful cemetery. When we pulled apart, Mom looked different somehow, lighter, more real. "I have something for you too," she said, reaching into her purse. She pulled out 2 sets of keys. "To my new condo, one for each of you. I want you to feel welcome there, always." "Thanks, Mom," Emma said softly. "And there's more," Mom continued. "I've started volunteering at the Grief Counseling Center, where we did family therapy, helping other families navigate loss and change. It's helping me understand everything better." I took my key, running my finger over its smooth surface. "New beginnings all around, huh?" "Speaking of which," Emma grinned, "when are you and Jordan making me an aunt?" "Emma!" I swatted her arm, laughing. "What? I need to know how long I have to finish the nursery mural I'm planning." We all laughed again, and this time it felt natural, unforced, like family should feel. "We should go," Serenity said, checking the time. "The contractor's meeting us at the studio site in 20 minutes. As we gathered our things, I touched Dad's headstone one last time. The watch gleamed on Emma's wrist, catching the sunlight. "Bye, Dad," I whispered. "We're okay now, promise." Walking back to our cars, I felt something settle in my chest, not the heavy weight of resentment I'd carried for so long, but something lighter, something like peace. "Ready?" Emma called, jangling her keys. "Ready," I answered, meaning so much more than just leaving the cemetery. Mom locked the box that had held the watch, tucking it into her purse. "My daughters," she said softly, proudly, and for the first time in years, she meant both of us equally. We drove away separately but headed to the same place, finally moving forward together. The past hadn't changed, but we had. And sometimes that's enough.